Hello. So you can go online and find tons of blogs and sources on how the kilt is meant to be worn. And a lot of it is looking at the history, and it's so intertwined with military garb, so there's strict specifications. But obviously, the kilt is not a dead, stagnant thing. It's constantly changing, and
True.
there are new trends. But I feel like there are very few people who have their thumb on what those trends are and how they're changing. So when you guys are together and you're looking at what customers are going for and what's becoming more popular, what trends are upcoming? How are people buying kilts? What are people wanting today, and what do you think people will want in 5 years from now?
We're getting that a lot lately.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Kilts are a fashion. Period. It's a garment of clothing. It's a garment of clothing with a lot of history, with a lot of meaning, but is still a garment of clothing. It evolves as fashion evolves, but much, much, much slower. And that, whenever fashion tries to, pull at it or do something different, or with tartan, more broadly speaking, with tartan, they're pulling it off track a little bit, but they always go back to the well of tradition. They always look back to the kilt. They always look back to the culture angle of all this, because that's the thing you can constantly draw from. Now, if fashion doesn't evolve, it will die. So it needs to evolve. It just evolves slower so that it is still honoring the tradition. The things that we look to, it's weird because it's kind of an amalgamation of things. It is pipe bands in Scotland. It is the rental, believe it or not, the rental or the hire industry in Scotland. It is younger people in Scotland or America. It is Celtic festivals in America. And it is also what is more popular in the broader culture. So like Tweeds or Downton Abbey or Boardwalk Empire, when those shows kind of came through, and the pipe bands at the same time in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, we started wearing tweeds. Over in Scotland, like the grade A or grade 1 competition bands were wearing tweeds. Then it kind of became a little bit more of a thing. And then the rental industry said, oh, hey, more people are looking for tweeds. We need to start carrying tweeds. So it's a little bit of a dog chasing his tail, where the rental industries are looking for, or rental companies are looking for the trend so that they don't have outdated inventory. And then when they switch over their inventory to tweeds, then people come in and go, oh, that's an option I can have. And then they start, it kind of goes in a cycle. So it's both the culture, it's the tradition, and it's the macro culture of everything else that's going on in the world. And you kind of have to just boil it down and then get your magic 8-ball, shake it up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, but I'm not done. We're not done yet. I would say pockets are a trend. Here's my little sermon for you. The fact that we are all here is because
Preach, brother.
As you wish, is because mall culture, digitized culture, American culture of the machine, of the computer, of your screens, can only go so far in fulfilling you as a spiritual being, my friends, my brothers, my sisters. Seriously, we all want a connection to nature, to the past, to a sense of self. Kilt, as a timeless garment, will do that. What I'm seeing that being expressed as more recently, fashion-wise, is movements like, this is mostly on the side of the ladies, but it's definitely happening with the guys now too, is what's called cottagecore or history bounding. These are trends basically where people are taking old types of garments, old fashions, like from 100 years ago to 300 years ago, and incorporating them into modern clothing for a more earthy, more human, less technical look. And I got examples right here in the audience. Okay, you look very, very timelessly cottagecore to me at the moment. So basically, that again, with the tweeds are a part of that. I think people are tired of the technicality of clothing and fast fashion. So another reason we're here is because these are not fast fashion. This is not like going down to the Walmart and grabbing it. This is something that you invest in because it will last you a lifetime. It is part of your core being. So I think simplicity and personal expression are always going to stay important, but people are looking for something that's less modern, less digital feeling. So look for the earthy tones, look for the marled threads to continue, look for the great kilts worn casually, to become more of a trend, we're seeing a lot of that. We're selling a lot of great kilts because guys want to feel that primitive warrior vibe. You know what I mean? So that's why I see what's been going on. I think it's just going to keep going.
Yeah. Great.
You know?
And the
So
thing.
into the lesson.
Well, I'm going to expand the question a little bit. The thing that it was kind of a light bulb moment recently. Somebody, and I'm not taking credit for the moment, somebody said it, and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Scots wear the kilt for a different reason than Americans, broadly speaking. There are Scots involved in clan societies. There are Scots who wear the kilt as part of their clan. But especially younger Scots today are not necessarily wearing their clan kilt. They are wearing the kilt as a sense of a national pride, a national unity, a national symbol.
Right.
Whereas Americans or Canadians or Australians or whatever are wearing the kilt as a symbol of their family, of their heritage, of their personal expression of their heritage, not as a symbol of national pride. So it's one thing that I find amusing is when, Scots are like, oh, you Americans or when people don't understand it because they're coming at it from two very, very different angles. And neither is right or neither is wrong. It's what we are doing here is very, very important to us in the same way that they're wearing a kilt as part of the Tartan Army when they visit Germany, to cheer on their team is their national identity.